as people come in to let them hop into our room while we're welcoming them all in. That would be awesome. And hello, everybody. Welcome. We are at International Day of Conscience. This is our YAC Community Action Showcase. We're so excited to have you guys join us today, as well to our friends joining us live on YouTube. Hello, you're welcome to add thoughts, comments, and questions into the chat on YouTube as well at any time. What we have is a little bit of a fun activity to get us started before we do our official start, because I know that a start time means something different for everybody across the world. So we're going to give everyone a little bit of a buffer. So if I could get the next slide up, we're going to do a little bit of a game that we often do with our Youth Advisory Council. And those of us from the Youth Advisory Council here today are going to find this very familiar. It is called Would You Rather. So I want everybody at the bottom of their Zoom screen to find the little heart that says react. And when you click on that heart, you will see a check mark option and you will see an X option. Okay, so what I would like you guys to do is give me your answer to these questions with a check mark or an X. So my first question is, would you rather take action for the environment or take action for physical or mental health? So which of these are more important to you? So give me a check mark if you're more focused on the environment. Give me an X if you're more focused on physical and mental health. All right, now just give you guys a minute to find that reaction, pop it up on your screen. As we're all reacting too, I want to give you guys a couple more reminders. We love cameras. So if you have your camera and we can see your face, that's an even more interactive event. So please turn your cameras on if you're able. And next to your name, if you hit the 3 dots next to your name, you can put the country or the city that you're joining from. Love to see where you guys are joining from, because I can see we have some friends here from the Philippines, from India. I know we have some of our Latin American friends joining us too. So go ahead and pop those next to your name when you have a chance. Okay, I'm looking at my answers. It's looking very mixed. I see like a mixture of check marks and X's. Do I have one person who gave me a check mark? One of my environmentalists. Is anybody willing to unmute and share why they chose the environment for this question? Vito? Yeah?
I chose the action from the environment because I think it's more important for all the world and the plants and the people all over the world to live with a higher quality of the air and everything.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Sounds like you really like biodiversity. You are gonna love the stuff that we're doing this year in decarbonizing ENN. That's a great answer. Okay, and someone who said physical and mental health. Is there anybody who said physical and mental health that wants to tell me why they are passionate about physical or mental health? Okay, I see your name is Andrea, but I don't think your name is actually Andrea.
My name I'm Marty and he's Felix.
Yes. Hello.
I think we chose
Mental health.
yes, mental health and physical action because without treating mental health, without treating physical health, I don't think you can like help the environment all that much. Yes, I think we need people.
We need people
in general, and well, to recruit more people, we can get more physical and mental health helps.
Ah, that's a great answer. It's like you can't have one without the other. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
If we're not mentally healthy, how can we take action for the environment? Great answer. Thank you very much. Okay. I think I actually only want to do one more because I like where this is going. Aisha, can I get you to jump to the blue one? Skip over one and go to the blue question. Because I really like the blue one. Yes, I like this one. So would you guys rather use social media to promote SDG action? So using social media to push for things that are important, to share things that are happening around the world? Or give me an X if you think social media should be an escape. Like we should be using social media to get away from all the scary, horrible things that are happening in the world because we need social media for that. So give me a check mark if you think, we should be sharing that stuff. We should be taking action on our Instagram and our TikTok. I don't know what young people use anymore. Our Snapchat. Okay, give me an X if you think, no, social media is for cat videos and cat videos only. That's what I want it to stay as. So what do we think? Okay, so far. Okay, this is, okay. I feel like I need to take mine down because I'm not fitting in with all the check marks. Nobody wants to use social media as an escape? Not one of you? Not one? You guys are just too focused on action. Case, anybody who gave me a check mark, why do you think social media should be used to promote SDG action? I don't even know who I'm going to pick. There's so many check marks. What do we think? One of my speakers is also, okay, Felix and Bowdy, you guys fixed your name. What do you guys think? Why do we think we should use social media for SDG action?
The social media is used to influence to influence people in general. So I think that it's very important to show the truth to the people, how the world is working right now, the contamination, the pollution in general, and try to do an action in that.
To generate awareness.
Amazing. Amazing. I like to see this. Like, I should have known, since you guys are all here to focus on SDG action, that this was going to be your answer, but I really do love seeing that. I will say, if anybody here thinks social media should just be for cat videos, that's also an okay answer. I support that as well. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, you had something else, Bowdy? Or was it a wave?
No, I think that social media could also be used. Like, I don't think we have to focus completely on one of the two questions. I think it would be like kind of a choice. Depends on how you're feeling and who you are.
Totally. And I also do think sometimes a lot of what can help with promoting climate action or any SDG action is that like positive news about what's happening around the world. Sometimes just seeing that like it's not all bad is like it's really good for us. So yeah, totally. I mean, I made these questions kind of impossible. The answer is always the gray area in between, but I thank you for participating and playing along with me. Aisha, if I could get you to skip over to our next welcome slide, I think it's 2 ahead. Our official start. So welcome to the official start of the International Day of Conscience. This is our Youth Advisory Council Community Action Showcase. So within the Center for Global Education, we run this Youth Advisory Council every year where we connect 30 to 40 kids across the globe. We do a lot of stuff within the Advisory Council for those of us that are not a part of it. So we do some mini lessons. We let the kids work together to collaborate on ideas. We get their feedback on our programs because we are an organization that works with children. So we want to make sure that we are doing work that works for children. And then, of course, we promote action. So all of the kids that are presenting here today, the young people that are presenting here today, are sharing some of the action projects that they either have already completed or are working on planning. So you're going to hear a little bit from them. But before we do that, I would like to begin with a land acknowledgement. If I could get the next slide, please. So I'd like to acknowledge that CGE is located in Amiskwaciwâskahikan. This is colonially known as Edmonton, Alberta, and is found on Treaty 6 territory. This land has been a traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to many groups. These include the Cree, the Saulteaux, the Blackfoot, Métis, the Dene, and the Nakota Sioux, and they've been here for time immemorial. And because we're gathering virtually, I also want to acknowledge the many traditional territories that you are each joining from across Turtle Island, but also around the world. So as we gather for our YAC Action Project Showcase, we recognize the importance of youth voices in shaping a more just and sustainable future. The actions being shared today, whether they're focused on climate or history, clean water and sanitation, or broader SDG initiatives like 17 by 17. These all remind us that global change begins with local responsibilities and with those relationships to your land and your community. The reconciliation process calls on all of us to reflect not only on our history, but how we move forward in that relationship with each other. So many of the challenges we're working to address today are very deeply connected to the ongoing impacts of colonization, and Indigenous knowledge systems continue to offer this vital guidance in caring for the earth and one another. Today is a very important opportunity to learn and be inspired by the leadership of some amazing young people who are taking meaningful action for their homes and communities. And I really hope that this space encourages us to reflect on this shared commitment that we have to create a more equitable and sustainable world. So thank you very much for joining us today. I'm going to head right into welcoming our first speaker because we have so many speakers that we want to get to today. So Solis Madokwe, she is heading off to class in just a few minutes, so she's going to share her presentation first. She is joining you from right here in Canada. And Solis, I am going to pass the microphone to you to share a little bit about your passion project.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for the introduction. Let me just share my screen really quickly and then we'll get right to it. So give
Great.
me
I will
one
let you know if
moment.
it comes up clean.
Okay. Um, okay. Do we see it?
It's thinking, it's loading. It's perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, so my community action project revolves around clean water and sanitation. And thank you all for the introduction, and we can just get started right now. Okay, so who am I? I'm Solace Madikwe. I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and why I'm really interested in like clean water and sanitation, clean water conservation, those types of areas is that water is a limited resource, and I wanted to make sure that things like this, as well as other environmental issues, are cleared up for future generations as well as my generation as well. I'm interested in promoting a lot of sustainable habits in everyday life and using water at home and like using less water at home and school as well as finding different alternatives to make it a lot better and a lot more efficient. I also want to make more solution, want to be part of the want to be part of the solution to global challenges and droughts and climate change, as well as being that voice in youth to kind of aid that resource. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm really interested in topics like water conservation. So I want to do a little pop quiz before we start a little bit and kind of test our knowledge about what we know about water, what we don't know about water, and like our international, like what we think internationally. So I was thinking for pop quiz, what amount of people in the entire world do you think doesn't have access to clean water? So I put options on the board on the screen. It's either 2.1 billion, 1.5 billion, or the third option, which is everyone has an option to clean water. It's not really a problem. So I don't know if we can use chats. Okay, we can use chat. So if you think it's 2.1 billion, then put 1.5, press 2, or if you believe like everyone like has an option to clean water, then press 3. I just want to see everyone's kind of thought process behind it. Okay. And then I can reveal the answer. A lot of ones, a lot of ones, a lot of ones. Okay. Okay. Well, I think everyone kind of has the same like kind of answer towards it. Let me move on to the next slide. Yeah. So it's 2.1 billion. A lot of people around the world don't really have that much access, especially in the Western area and some places, even in the Eastern area as well. It's very difficult for people to get clean access based on governmental issues, economic, even basically where they just basically live, right? So different situations kind of have different issues. Maybe you might have clean water, but the next person generally may not. So okay, so my goal that I'm focusing for my action project is clean water and sanitation. It's the sixth sustainable development goal in all of them, and it aims to provide safe and affordable drinking water for everyone by improving water sources and the infrastructure to have them, like governmental policies, things of that nature. The goal is to promote adequate sanitation and hygiene in toilet areas and hand washing facilities, and it's also able to it supports protection of water focused ecosystems in our area, and it helps international cooperation between people who want to solve that water problem in your community. So that's kind of what the basis between the SCG of the sixth one kind of focuses on, and kind of why I wanted to focus on it as well. And so I kind of also wanted to share a little bit of a personal experience I also experienced with like clean water safety as well. Shoal Lake 40 First Nation is a really important place that kind of incorporates a lot of indigenous teaching as well, but it's also really big. It was also really a stable marker to like things that happened in my community that didn't really showcase a lot of clean water safety and didn't have that much access to clean water as well. So I have a video here that I kind of wanted to see, like for you guys to see. It's like a 2-minute video, and it kind of highlights the issue in Shoal Lake 40, as well as things that they've done to actually make it a lot better in the situation. So let's take a listen.
You know, Solus, I don't know if your sound is coming through. You might have to stop sharing. And then when you reshare, you have to check share computer audio. I don't know if there's supposed to be sound playing, but there isn't any.
Oh, there isn't sound playing?
Yeah, so when you share your screen, there's a special box that you have to tick that says also share my sound. So you might have to unshare, reshare.
Okay. So let's stop sharing. And then share. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was exactly right, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hidden.
Okay. Can we hear now?
For the first time in a quarter.
Yes. Yes. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Cheers.
Leaders from Shoal Lake 40 clinked together their glasses in celebration, taking a sip of clean drinking water from their taps for the first time in a quarter of a century. A new water treatment facility will bring clean water to around 300 people, ending a 24-year boil water advisory.
It's about that time. We struggled for over 20 years with boiled water deliveries, and the reality of the project coming to an end is surreal. This should, like it was said earlier, it should never have happened.
Yesterday, they celebrated the opening of a $29 million water facility, which was funded by the federal government. The community, which sits on the border of Ontario and Manitoba, has grappled with basic human rights for 100 years. It started after an aqueduct was built to transport clean drinking water to the city of Winnipeg in 1919. It cut Shoal Lake 40's access to land and drinking water. Residents have protested and fought for proper road access over the years. And finally, 2 years ago, they welcomed Freedom Road, a year-round path to the Trans-Canada Highway. With Freedom Road and lifting their boil water advisories, Chief Red Sky says the community can start to move forward.
We still need to do some more catch up on some of the stuff that we're far behind in. This is just the beginning.
Siobhan Green grew up in Shoal Lake 40 and is looking forward to that first sip. She hauled water all through her pregnancy with her daughter Talia and after she was born.
I don't know what it feels like to have clean water. So this is kind of new and I'm just like, oh, my throat. So this is new and it's my new right for my daughter.
After a sunrise ceremony, Green took some tobacco down to the shores of her home. She says it's a new world for her daughter and the generations to come. Michelle Carlenze, APTN National News, Shoal Lake 40.
Okay. So thank you so much for the video. We can move on back into it. Give me one moment. I'm trying to figure out something. I can't see. Okay. So with the Shoal Lake 40 video, kind of acknowledging that Shoal Lake 40 was going through for a very long time. Shoal Lake First Nation is kind of located between Manitoba and Ontario, and I live in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I was able to actually, I don't know if you can see the pictures down below, me standing on that rock. Wait, am I frozen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see me standing on that rock over there. Oh, but I was standing there. That was kind of where I was. We went there for, I think, ELA as well. And we did like a lot of activities like ice skating, I think. I think it was snowing all the time, so we can like actually like go on the ice and like skate. And it was very interesting and very unique, right, for an experience. And so we were able to actually use Freedom Road to get there. And it was just a way for us to really kind of show, like, put a face towards a community that was having a lot of problems with injustice and a lot of issues with like working together to like be able to understand each other as well as understand why the problem was there for so long, because the issue happened for 25 years. And it was only now or somewhere recently where it was able to actually, they were able actually to understand that they can get clean water from our government. So that was really unique experience as well as that. And I've also been able to do a lot more with clean water. And that was basically what kind of inspired me to kind of do my action project. So my action project kind of related around the UNICEF kind of fundraiser. I'll show my later slide how we kind of did this, but basically we orchestrated a UNICEF pizza water fundraiser. And I organized a UNESCO club in my local school. And with our theme of water for all this year, to commemorate it, we made a fundraiser to allow clean water in different avenues internationally, especially for places that don't really have that opportunity or that access. So our first thought process was to present to our administration. That was kind of a hard task because not a lot of us was able, like, never had like that big or talked to a lot of teachers before. And so it wasn't only me, it was a bunch of other executives as well as members as well of my club. And we were able to plan what we were doing. We were able to convey what we were doing and why we were doing it, and also what we would accomplish in our school, of course, to have more of a holistic view of international problems in our school, as well as to allow more diversity in and kind of think less about ourselves and more about the situation in other places of the world. So we presented to our administration, and then we assigned roles in our community, in our members, right? One of us would have to do classroom advertising, where we had to talk to the classrooms, talk to them about what we're going to be doing. And other people had to then sign up to help out with the fundraiser as well. So the more hands the merrier. We didn't really kind of debate who was going to do what. It was more, if you can do it, we'll be happy to have you. So we kind of settled on doing a pizza fundraiser instead of like a baking based one. And after doing that, we were able to fundraise about over $200 to the UNICEF water bundles, which would be able to use in different areas and different avenues around the world to provide clean water, sanitation, and basically a better quality of life for a lot of people. So this is my call to action part of my presentation. Clean water is essential for all human beings, no matter what you like do throughout the day, no matter what you need to be doing for life in general, you need clean water. It's just basic premise. And it prevents the spread of diseases, especially a lot of contaminated water is a lot of reasons for people dying and a lot of issues going around the world that people might think is normal, which is generally isn't. And access to clean water improves quality of life for everyone, especially now, especially like even in the future for sure, we will need clean water for children, families, especially in vulnerable communities. And you are not beyond helping others in need. You are not beyond helping. You're not beyond going out of your way or doing something, doing a fundraiser, doing something between your friends or your family or your neighborhood. It's just helping out, giving back to the community that gave you so much, right? So in my other slide over here, I'm kind of showing a little bit of UNICEF survival gift links. So this is kind of how we found the fundraiser. So here on this area, that's kind of like the kind of water tab, and there's like three options. There's water for life bundles. Other ones are less expensive, but this is the one we donated to. The water for life bundle that kind of helped about 2 billion people with clean water, with like sanitation, like soaps, oral rehydration salts, as well as purification tablets that kind of purify dirty water into something you can actually use. So this is kind of, if you guys are interested in doing something like this, you can always copy the link. You can always talk about it, email me, I can figure something out. But yeah, this is kind of what we did, and it just shows how you can do the same thing too. So thank you all for listening. Yeah, this is the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much. It's so wonderful. I want to say too, as someone who also lives in Canada, it is wild to think that the country with so much fresh water has anyone that doesn't have access to clean fresh water, like especially in our country. So thank you very much for taking action for something so important. Very quickly before we let Solus leave, could I get Solus and Aisha both to stop sharing their screens so I can see everybody's faces in gallery mode, and we're going to do our quick YAC photo. So our YAC friends, you guys remember this? We do this picture where everybody's going to put their hands up to their screen so we can kind of, yes, make a little heart. If you have two people, you have to go across to the other side of the screen. So the person on the right-hand side of the screen reaches to this side, the person on the left-hand side of the screen reaches to that side. Does that make sense? Yeah, that works too. And my trick too is like, if you get closer to your screen, it kind of works a little bit better than far away. So you can get a little bit. Yes, that looks great. Yeah, you guys, our whole class, you guys can maybe hold up some hearts. Anybody else who has a camera that they're able to put on. Yeah, and try to get your hand as close to the edge as you can. This is the cheer that we do with all of our YAC events, so we can see that everybody's connected with all of our hearts. So a little bit higher, connect to the edge. Everybody can give a big smile, and I'll take a screenshot of our recording so I have it. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thank you. I wanted to make sure that Solus was here for our cheer. We usually do it at the end, but I wanted to sneak it in here. Thank you very much, Solus. I think she has to hop off to class now, but it was really wonderful having you, and thank you for starting us off. Wonderful. All right. And I'm going to welcome our next group of speakers, pair of speakers. So Himaja Reddy and Vishnu Bijigama are joining us from India. And I will pass the microphone and the slides over to our friends from India to share about their action projects.
Thank you so much. So let me just share the screen.
Looks perfect.
Yeah. So I'd like to start with a quote. Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. Warm greetings to everyone present here. Today, my partner Vishnu and I, Himaja, from Hyderabad, India, are here to present the action projects that we have taken up under the guidance of the Youth Advisory Council, YAC, with the constant support of our school, Pallavi Model School, Alwal.
Let us begin with a brief introduction to our presentation titled Small Steps, Big Impact. This presentation highlights our school's three key sustainable initiatives to foster environmental responsibility. They are protecting nature, utilizing clean energy, and effective waste management. We aim to raise awareness and inspire responsible actions among students and the community, contributing to a cleaner and more sustainable future and aligning the UN SDG goals.
We were also the recipients of this Eco Schools flag that you can see in the picture. So it's a flag that is given to schools that promote sustainability in India. Now moving on to our first key initiative, feeding wings and saving nature. Now let's imagine a hot afternoon where a small bird searches for just a drop of water. As urbanization increases, many birds are losing their natural habitats and struggling to find food and water. This silent struggle often goes unnoticed, yet it affects the balance of our ecosystem. As students, we felt the need to take a step, no matter how small. We placed eco-friendly bird feeders in public spaces and our school using simple and sustainable materials. These feeders provided both food and water in conditions which the birds found hard to find them.
And you know what? What may seem like a small effort for us can make a big difference for them. Actually, birds play a vital role in pollination, seed dispersion, and maintaining ecological balance. Without them, the natural cycle is disrupted. This initiative also helps us to spread awareness among communities and students. It reminds us that nature is not just a part, we are also a part of it, and it is our responsibility to protect it. This project aligns with UN SDG goal number 15, Life on Land, focusing on conserving biodiversity and protecting ecosystems. Because when we care for birds, we care for life itself.
Now coming to our second key initiative, which is solar-driven infrastructure. The future of the energy is not tomorrow, it is today. With increasing energy demand and growing environmental challenges, the need for clean and sustainable energy has become more important than ever. Now, as students, we decided to take a step in this problem also, instead of just discussing it. Our school installed solar panels that now generate electricity for the entire campus. This has significantly reduced our dependence on non-renewable energy sources and lowered our carbon footprint.
This initiative is not only just about generating energy, it is about mindset shift. We actively promote energy conservation and responsible usage of electricity among students and people. Simple actions of switching off unused lights and being mindful of electricity consumption are encouraged every day. We know that solar energy is renewable. It's not just renewable, it is non polluting and sustainable too. By adopting it, we are contributing to a cleaner environment and a more secure future. This initiative aligns with the UN SDG goal number 7, affordable and clean energy. which focuses on ensuring access to sustainable energy for all. We would like to also share that we are generating almost 45,000 kilowatts of electricity in an area of 3,000 square feet, and this is sufficient for our school, and this has reduced our consumption on non-renewable energy. In conclusion, this project shows the real change begins with action and awareness. When we choose clean energy, we choose a brighter and more sustainable future.
Now, our last key initiative, Clean Today, Green Tomorrow. Waste is something we create every day, often without giving it much thought. It becomes part of a routine, used, discarded, and forgotten. But we began to look more closely. We realized that waste does not simply disappear, it accumulates, impacts the environment, and becomes a long term challenge. This realization has encouraged us to take responsibility. Through our initiative, Clean Today, Green Tomorrow, we follow proper waste management practices and conduct regular recycling drives. We collect paper, plastic, and e waste from our school and nearby communities, ensuring that it is properly sorted and recycled. I'd also like to add that our school has contributed to recycling 18 kgs of plastic waste, 300 kgs of paper waste through an organization called Better India, and 600 kgs of e waste.
This effort helped us understand that waste management is not just a system, it is a habitat that begins with each one of us. By promoting the principle of reduce, reuse, and recycle, we aim to create awareness and encourage more responsible choices. This initiative matches and aligns with SDG goal number 12, responsible consumption and production, focusing on sustainable practices because a cleaner future begins with more mindful choices today.
To conclude, I'd like to say that these three initiatives reflect our school's commitment to sustainability through simple yet impactful actions. By protecting biodiversity, promoting clean energy, and ensuring responsible waste management, we are contributing to three UN SDG goals: SDG 15, 7, and 12.
These efforts show that small, consistent actions can create a meaningful and long lasting impact on our environment.
Now, to end our presentation, I'd like to thank all the listeners for listening patiently and the organizers of this event for giving us this amazing opportunity to showcase our action projects. Because sustainability doesn't start with big changes, it starts with small and responsible actions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I think your presentation is going to be especially impactful for a lot of the kids here because so many of you I know are planning and running some climate actions in your own school. So to think about maybe a recycling or a solar panel action, there are kids in India who are already doing that. So we know that it's possible. So thank you very much for sharing. That was really wonderful. I am going to pass the microphone next to our group from the Philippines. So I would like to welcome up to the stage Daphne Francia, Lucky Brillo, and Sierra Tatak to tell us a little bit about what they're working on in the Philippines.
Well, thank you for that short introduction. I'd like to share our slides real quick before we start.
They look great.
Good day, everyone, or good evening from wherever part of the world you're currently watching this. So, we are the group from the Philippines, and today we are here to talk about the significance of preserving history as a step forward for the youth. My name is Daphne, and here to present alongside me today are Shara and Lucky. To start off, let's talk about why we chose to discuss this topic. We used to be students from a school known as St. Joseph's Academy, and while it may pass off as any other ordinary Catholic school in the Philippines, what makes us stand out is how our identity as an educational institution is tied to a national treasure known as the bamboo organ, which is located in the church right next to our school campus. Naturally, the bamboo organ came up a lot during our educational journey in SJA. We would often hold seminars or small tours in the church, which helped us keep informed of the rich history behind this national treasure and why people from all over the world come up to visit and get a glimpse of it. Being constantly exposed to the efforts both the school and the Bamboo Organ Foundation puts into making sure that this national treasure is preserved, we couldn't help but notice that issues like these are not usually discussed among the youth, which is understandable. Being exposed to different contemporary issues, I'd hardly blame the next generations for barely finding the opportunity to stop and look back. This is why we want to help address this issue concerning the growing lack of efforts to preserve traditions and historical heritages that help shape different cultures and identities. But first, let's give a short visit to what our own national treasure, the bamboo organ, is known for.
The story of the bamboo organ begins in the early 19th century, built between 1816 and 1824 by Father Diego Serra de la Virgen del Carmen, a Spanish priest stationed in Las Piñas. Unlike traditional pipe organs made of metal, he chose bamboo, an abundant local material out of necessity and creativity. But what makes this instrument truly remarkable is not its construction, but its survival. Throughout history, the organ has endured earthquakes, typhoons, and even long periods of neglect. One lesser known story is how the organ was severely damaged by a strong earthquake in 1880, leaving it unplayable for decades. Many believed it was beyond saving, yet instead of being discarded, it was shipped all the way to Germany in 1970s for restoration. An unusual journey that reflects how deeply people valued its cultural significance even outside the Philippines. When it returned in 1975, it was not just repaired, it was revived. Today, the bamboo organ is housed in St. Joseph Parish Church, and it's celebrated annually to the International Bamboo Organ Festival. But beyond the festival, its continued existence represents something deeper: the power of preservation through community efforts, global cooperation, and cultural pride. Next slide, please. Our topic that we chose to focus on the target of SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, specifically Target 11.4, Protect the World's Natural and Cultural Heritage. Because our topic, the Las Piñas bamboo organ, is not just a historical object, but a powerful symbol of why cultural heritage must be protected. As the one and only bamboo organ in the world, it represents Filipino identity, creativity, and resilience. Yet its history also reveals how fragile culture can be damaged by earthquakes, affected by time, and nearly forgotten. This makes it a perfect example of what Target 11.4 of SDG 11 seeks to address: the urgent need to safeguard heritage before it disappears. We specifically focus on these SDG because the bamboo organ preservation is a choice, not a guarantee. Its survival was not an accident. It requires action. It requires restoration, global cooperation, and continuous care. Without these efforts, this one-of-a-kind masterpiece would have been lost forever. This reflects the core message of SDG 11, Target 11.4, that cultural heritage must be actively protected through awareness, investment, and community involvement. Today, the bamboo organ continues to live through performances and celebrations like the International Bamboo Organ Festival, showing that preservation goes beyond remembering the past. It means keeping culture alive in the present. By choosing SDG 11, particularly Target 11.4, we highlight that protecting heritage, like the bamboo organ, is essential in building sustainable communities because it preserves not just structures, but the identity and stories of a nation.
An organization existing to protect and preserve this well-known historical landmark is the Bamboo Organ Foundation Incorporated. They are a non-stock, non-profit organization dedicated to preserving, maintaining, and promoting the 19th century bamboo organ located in St. Joseph's Parish, Las Piñas, Philippines. It manages the national cultural treasure, organizes the annual International Bamboo Organ Festival, and supports local community, musical, and educational initiatives. The following are the action plans of the Bamboo Organ Foundation Incorporated. So, first of all, preservation, as this nonprofit organization ensures the upkeep of the world's only known, oldest, and largest bamboo organ. The Bamboo Organ Foundation also maintains a museum with various historical artifacts which feature original parts of the bamboo organ before its restoration, as well as remnants left behind during the rise of Catholicism in the city of Las Piñas. Most importantly, the Bamboo Organ Foundation also organized the International Bamboo Organ Festival, which is a globally recognized music festival and concert held every February at the St. Joseph Parish Church, promoting not just the bamboo organ itself, but also the rich history and traditions of the city of Las Piñas. It showcases international and local talent to promote cultural heritage, artistry, and the resilience of the historic instrument, which has survived over 200 years of disasters. Funds collected from this festival are all utilized for the preservation of the bamboo organ, as well as the bamboo organ church and other artifacts within the museum. For our personal involvement towards this action plan, the school offers a subject course called Work Immersion, and there are students that were given the opportunity to enter the Bamboo Organ Foundation as its interns. I was able to witness firsthand the protocols they had within the foundation, specific procedures of how the bamboo organ was rebuilt, its history, and at present, how it is maintained. I learned a lot about my city's culture, which helped me build more of that connection and appreciation towards my surroundings. We also experienced being tour guides for the museum, where we discussed various historical artifacts. Through learning about my culture, my city, and most importantly, the history hidden within the walls of the Bamboo Organ Church, I would say I developed a sense of responsibility towards its preservation. The tour guiding experience also allowed us to take part in spreading awareness towards cultural conservation. This action project allows students to be more aware of the importance of preserving our culture and heritage through understanding how history shapes our identity as a community. As every culture preserved is a story that continues to live, there is no need to erase history in achieving sustainable development. Instead, we should aim to celebrate and protect it.
Today, many traditions and cultural and natural heritage are slowly disappearing, not because because they are not important, but because they are being forgotten. With constant modernization and changing lifestyle, fewer people continue these traditions, and many cultural and natural heritage sites are left unmaintained. So this is the real issue. Culture is fading, not suddenly, but quietly over time. The story of the Las Piñas bamboo organ shows us what could happen if we stopped caring, because it was once close to being lost and forgotten. So this is our call to action. Do not let our culture disappear. Support, preserve, and pass it on. Because once traditions are gone, they are not just history. We lose a part of who we are.
That's right. Support, preserve, and pass it on. These are the three vital steps we believe should be taken to ensure that the responsibility of preserving traditions and cultural heritages like the bamboo organ are effectively passed on to the youth. First, we can try to support foundations that focus their efforts on preserving national and cultural heritages by volunteering to be part of their projects or offering financial support, which is a good way to help these foundations since most of them rely on donations and charity events. Second, a good way to help preserve traditions and cultural heritages is by actively participating in festivals, events, or projects that focus on celebrating different traditions. There is no better way to preserve culture than actually experiencing it. These experiences help us see why it is essential to keep the spirit that comes from these traditions alive for the next generations to come. And last but not least, pass it on. A good way to ensure that the importance of preserving these different cultures and traditions are effectively communicated to the youth is by holding educational field trips in museums or actual sites of these national heritages. This gives them the opportunity to learn things that aren't usually taught in a classroom and see the roots of the culture they know today and strengthen their identity. With constant evolution and modernization being introduced, it is easy to forget what has passed. But we must remember that looking back to our roots is just as important as looking forward to the future. There is a well-known saying from our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, that we Filipinos value, and it goes, those who do not know how to look back to where they came from will never attain the future. It is time that we, the next generations, acknowledge our responsibility in preserving our history. And as part of fulfilling that responsibility, we encourage everyone to visit the Bamboo Organ Foundation's official website to give support or simply learn more about the bamboo organ, as well as other foundations that help preserve different cultural heritages in the Philippines. And that is it for our presentation about the significance of preserving history as a step forward for the youth. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, wonderful. And before I let you guys off, I had a question come in through the chat. How big is the bamboo organ? We can see the picture, but it's hard to tell by scale. Is it like taller than a person? How large is this thing?
Well, the bamboo organ, what's seen in the picture, let me see if I can go back to it. It's actually a lot bigger than what's seen in the church. Because when you enter the church, you can see the bamboo organ right there. But what's actually big, I'm not sure if you can see it here, but it's here in the corner over there. What's actually really big is the pipes that are behind the bamboo organ. And that's for sure, it's definitely taller than a person
Yeah,
or at least a normal picture.
what you can actually see from the outside, it's actually much more bigger in the inside because there are a lot of pipes that aren't visible to the eye if you just enter the church.
Very cool. Awesome. Thank you very much. And I'll say too, like, I do think this is a great kind of segue into our wrap up because we do have one more speaker, but the thought of that idea that sometimes we don't think of our culture as like interesting or special or important, but I think being able to be on these meetings and seeing all of these different cultures together, I hope it kind of inspires you all to think like, yes, the history and the culture in my country is important and is worth celebrating and saving. So thank you very much for sharing. I am going to welcome very briefly to wrap this all up my friend Grace Totten to talk to you guys a little bit about, now that you've learned about these different aspects and you're feeling inspired to take action, how do we make that action really count? So Grace, I will pass to you to give our final presentation.
Awesome. And don't worry, guys, I'll try to make this as short and sweet as possible because we all wait one sec. We all just listened to some awesome presentations. Is my screen sharing?
It's
Let's
thinking.
see.
It's
thinking.
It's
Oh wait, I think I know what to do. Come on. Let's see. Wait, let me reshare. Nope. Share.
Maybe it might help if you turn your camera off. It could be like a bandwidth issue.
Yeah, let me.
Oh, it's coming up now.
That's a different presentation. And let's go to the real presentation. Okay. Click. Oh, is that good?
This is the presentation.
Good?
Perfect.
Okay. So, hi everyone. My name is Grace Totten. One thing, if you ask me one question, and that question being, what is your favorite thing in the world? I'd probably say that my favorite thing in the world is meeting new people. I just love putting myself in rooms where I don't know anybody, going to events where I don't know anybody, and meeting them. Why? Because you can learn so many things from meeting new people. So go meet someone new today, tomorrow, or sometime. Okay, but if you asked me that again and I actually thought about it some more, I'd probably say that my favorite thing to do is action projects. I absolutely love action projects because I think ever since the age of like maybe 10 or 11, I started realizing all the things that are kind of scary in our world, such as climate change and all the goals, like the UN SDG goals, like the problems that they're trying to fix. Um, I first heard about like climate change and like the real issues of poverty and I don't know, other things that an 11-year-old would hear. Um, and that the first thing I thought was actually not, oh, I want to fix it. It was actually like, this is really scary and I'm so fearful of this. But as I got older and learned more about it and learned about the UN SDGs, I realized that I can actually use my fear and my passion to do great things. And with that fear and passion, I made a project called 17 by 17. So 17 by 17 is my goal to implement actions in my community for all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, such as clothing drives for no poverty or making food for the homeless for number 2, zero hunger. But this initiative has a broader goal of inspiring youth all across Canada and eventually globally to do the same with their fears and their passion. So, right, okay. So far I've completed 12 goals and I have 5 remaining. And I know this slide says that there's 0 in progress, but all the ones that I haven't completed are currently in progress right now. But for example, number 4, quality education. I started a podcast with my friend Leah that kind of educates people about the UN SDGs and interviews people such as like the speakers today who shared their action projects. I interview youth about action projects that they're doing. The most recent one being my friend Sarah and her project on awareness of diabetes, type 1 diabetes. And we kind of educate people about that with that podcast for number 4, quality education. For number 5, gender equality, I did a Women's Day webinar where I invited 2 lovely ladies, Jennifer McGill and I kind of forget the other girl's name, but they were awesome and they spoke at that webinar and that was awesome. They spoke about being women that are unrepresented in their fields of work and how they got through barriers when they were like growing up in high school and stuff like that. So those are just some examples of the projects that I've done so far. And what I'm working on right now is probably number 3 and number 10 and number 6 and number 14. 3 and 10, I'm working on a fundraiser that will donate to First Steps, which is a organization here in my town that helps women who are pregnant get out of the poverty line and helps them, like provides them with baby food, baby diapers, and stuff like that. So that will be reduced inequalities and good health and well-being. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on right now. Finally, how can you get involved? Well, I have this thing called the hashtag 17 by 17 challenge on social media. All you have to do, it's very easy. You just have to take a picture of yourself or take a video of yourself doing one of the actions for the UN SDGs, post it on social media and use this hashtag and tag the 17 by 17 account because I'm more likely to see it if you tag the account. And then we will repost that, feature you on our website and kind of promote your project. So that's really cool. And I think you should do that. Also, one thing that's not in this slide is that as my 17 by 17 journey is coming to an end as I turn 17 this June, I will be releasing forms for the next generation of 17 by 17 people. We need a couple leads to lead the challenge like I'm doing. And then we need a team behind it because right now I have a team of people in British Columbia. I have people in across Canada and one person in Argentina who are helping me out. So we'll need a new team for the project next year. So stay tuned for that. It'll be posted on the 17 by 17 Instagram account. Yeah, and if you want to contact me, you can contact me via email at grace@17by17.org. And you can check out the Instagram and my website. Thank you.
Amazing. So quick. I love it. Kids get very excited about this project. I think this again will resonate a lot with a few of us here. So if you check out the website, you can see we have a lot of friends from Argentina. So our friend Majo in Argentina is a part of this project. Yes. So you guys could totally get involved. So a really great way to kind of amplify those actions you guys are already taking. Now we only have 6 minutes left, but I think that gives us enough time to do a couple of great Q&A questions. So if anybody has a Q&A question, you can either raise your hand. You can use your raise hand emoji at the bottom of your screen. You can type them in the chat if you would like to type them in the chat. I think our friends, our SGS Argentina friends maybe had a question. Yeah, I see a reaction. Yes, go ahead and ask your question. The kissy face emoji to ask a question.
Hi, well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask, what is one challenge you faced and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so yeah, when
Thank you. Question.
Yeah, we're good. So yeah, so when you guys are planning your action projects, what challenges did you face and how did you overcome them? I'm sure these didn't all come very easily for you. You can share in any order. You can raise your hand. You can. But would anyone like to share, you know, a challenge that they had to overcome in doing any aspect of their projects? And Aisha, I think we're good. You can put the slides down. Thank you. Really? No one had any issues at all? Challenges, Grace, you go ahead first.
Where I was trying to find the raise hand button. But one of the major challenges I've had with 17 by 17 so far is probably promoting it and getting it out there and getting people aware of it. And of course, the actual finding out what to do for some of the harder UN SDGs, like decent work and economic growth. Oh, that's probably the main challenge I've had with my projects.
So overcoming it then, if you've had some issues with getting the word out there, what were some strategies that worked well for you in trying to spread the word?
Yeah, so some strategies that worked for me is basically just contacting everybody that I know about it, finding organizations in my city that kind of help kids. For me, that would be Brilliant Labs, and they kind of help kids with action projects and stuff like that. And another thing I did is just email a bunch of news people, like do a, what's that called? Like a press release? I don't know.
Yeah.
And put that out there and just try my best. So yeah.
Awesome. Any of our other speakers have any challenges that they had to overcome to complete their action projects? Yeah, Daphne?
For our action project, I think the biggest challenge was actually getting the youth interested in our objective because, as I said, preserving cultural heritages or national heritages isn't usually a topic that is discussed among the youth. So things like actually getting them to intern in our bamboo organ museum and making presentations or holding seminars and other meetings about this whole Bamboo Organ Foundation project really helped, and holding festivals, since that's really attractive for the youth, and as we said, if they get to experience it, they'd see why it is essential to preserve our national heritages.
Yeah, totally. And I think trying to get young people interested and excited about these things is one of the biggest challenges that we all face. Does anybody have thoughts on how to overcome this challenge? Was anybody able to yeah, we got our class fully on board with this. This is how we did it. Does anybody have tips on how to overcome this apathy issue that we have with teenagers sometimes? Maybe that's too hard. I know. You know what? One that I heard at the last event that we ran with our YAC was using your friends. So using that kind of social connection that you have with people to kind of get favors from them, because once people are involved, they get excited, but it's just getting them in the door. So that was kind of the biggest pointer that I had was don't be afraid to ask your friends to come out on a Saturday and plant some trees with you. It's very infectious once you get involved. So that is wonderful. Great answer. I think we might have time for one more. So Felix and Bowdy, I'll pass it to you to ask the last question here. And sorry, Saruta, if you want to type yours in the chat, you can, and you might get a couple answers there too.
Yeah, I wanted to ask everyone if you were not taken completely serious once, because of your age, mainly.
Yeah, so has anybody ever faced that issue where people maybe don't take you seriously because you are young, or maybe don't invest fully in what you're working on? Or do you find it's the opposite? I don't know. How do you think your age is perceived in your actions? Yeah, Grace.
So I have two things of this. The first one is being the fact that I'm a teenager. So it's not that I'm too young, it's just that I'm in that funny age of being 16 or whatever. And a lot of the time when I'm doing fundraisers or trying to find sponsors for things, they don't really want to sponsor me. And I did sponsors when fundraisers when I was younger, like 8 or something. And they wanted to sponsor me because it was like, oh, this is such a cute little kid, but now they don't. And my other example would be my actual parents, and they're like, are you actually gonna stick with this? Yeah. So some people definitely have not believed in me because of my age before.
Any other thoughts on how you guys are perceived with your age when you're trying to do these action projects? Okay. I mean, we are at time. I have one last thought I want to share before I let you guys all go. First of all, in the chat, I'm popping in this link. If you want to learn more about our Youth Advisory Council, we will be relaunching applications in the fall. So that's where you're going to find them. We'll also post it on social media. My other thing is this idea of maybe not being taken seriously as a youth. Something that I've noticed going to UN conferences around the world is that a child's voice or a teenager's voice is always the strongest voice in any room. So when we have a panel of speakers and one of them is a child or a youth, your voice has so much more power. And the older you get, that power actually gets diminished. So I will say sometimes we have this thought that people will look down at us or treat us unfairly. And that could happen sometimes. But in my experience, more often, people are actually more willing to do what you ask them and more willing to put in the effort because they're so impressed that a child is doing these things. So your voice does have great power. Please use it while you still have it. Take as many actions before you turn 17 or 18 or 25 as you possibly can. I wanted to say a huge thank you very much to all of our speakers, not only for sharing and presenting today, but for all the work you guys are doing in your communities. You are all amazing kids, and I'm very excited to see what other action projects come out of this. Thank you to our Decarbonize LATAM friends for joining us today. Excited to see what you guys get up to down in Latin America. And happy International Day of Conscience. I hope everybody has a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye. Thanks. Bye-bye.